We begin in Iraq, where Daesh fighters are putting up fierce resistance against the army's approach on Mosul. Security forces are hoping to drive the terror group out of villages in the Shura region, that's 30 kilometers south of the city. In other areas, the Iraqi army has moved much closer to the edges of Mosul, even though the US-led coalition says resistance by Daesh is getting stronger. Mosul is Daesh's last major stronghold in the country. Well, Andrew Hopkins joins us now from Erbil in northern Iraq with the very latest on this. So, Andrew, what is the latest then on the operation to try and recapture Mosul?
Paul, it seems that, we're now 11 days into this offensive, and while north of Mosul, the Iraqi forces and its allies have been making quite good progress. They're just a handful of kilometers away from the city now. To the south, it's a bit of a different story. A coalition spokesman saying that Iraqi forces there have come up against some quite stiff resistance from Daesh, and they are still 30 kilometers away. And that means all the other groups that are actually involved in this offensive have had to slow down a bit or even stop to give them time to catch up and for everybody to sort of get on the same page, if you like, for their plan of attack here. We also still have reports of fighting continuing around Bashika, which is a important town north of Mosul, and also in a Christian town called Bartella, which is about 10 kilometers away from Mosul to the east there. But what I think most people are waiting for, or very concerned about, if you like, is the point when Iraqi forces enter Mosul itself. That's when the fighting is really expected to intensify, and all the other issues related to that are going to get very much worse.
And of course, one of those issues, Andrew, that you've probably touched on is the humanitarian situation. As the fighting continues and the forces do edge their way closer to Mosul, is the humanitarian situation getting worse?
Well, the United Nations in the last 12 hours or so has said that they think there are 10,600 people who have fled the fighting. But again, it's this important point when the Iraqi forces enter Mosul that they think that there's going to be quite a large exodus of people. There are still, it's thought to be about 1.5 million people living in the city. That's compared with more than 2 million before Daesh took it over 2 years ago. So that's the point when all the aid agencies, the United Nations, are still trying to get ready for what's to come here. But just one other point to mention, we do know that the Iraqi armed forces and Peshmerga are actually moving some people from their homes in villages if they're near the battlefields or the front lines, because they're quite concerned that they will become targets for missiles or rockets coming from Daesh, and these people are getting moved into refugee camps instead.
Okay, Andrew, thank you very much for the update.